provide some knowledge share since I have been using it. I was very excited when the first iteration of ChatGPT, which is ChatGPT 3.5, got introduced into the market. And then, of course, more recently, now we have ChatGPT 4. So, of course, we'll be having this talk on mastering AI tools, to keep you one step ahead at the workplace. Let me, hopefully this should be going to full screen. Let me just manually click on full screen. Okay, here we go. All right, here, that's more like it. Okay. So just a quick bio introduction about myself. My profession is as a lead IT security engineer. I work for RGA Reinsurance Group, and there I'm basically IT security doing endpoint protection. In addition to that, I do have 20 plus years of experience in general information systems. But more importantly, I'm really a technology enthusiast. I would really often get passionate about other elements of technology that are not even IT related. All right, so outside of that, I'm a ultramarathoner. I do some digital marketing, and then I always enjoy the game of tennis. So we'll go ahead and jump right in into the definition of artificial intelligence. It is, of course, defined as computer systems and software that can perform tasks that usually require human intelligence, such as understanding of language, problem solving, and pattern recognition. Let me see real quick what this chat is. Okay. So a quick information share that might make this presentation resonate and more relevant is that by 2025, AI is predicted to generate a global economic value of about $15.7 trillion, and a third of that, which is $6.6 trillion, is going to be stemming from increased productivity in the workplace. So this research has been officially done by people who put the money on research and things of that nature. So that's kind of giving you perspective that you want to be parts of that 6.6 trillion. You want to be part of the people that help generate that 6.6 trillion. So harnessing the power of AI tools could definitely be the key to unlocking your full potential at work and catapulting your career to new heights. So we'll go ahead and jump into the advantages of AI in the workplace. There are several, but these are the key three. AI allows you for increased efficiency. So basically, AI-powered software can streamline a lot of processes, reduce a lot of human error, and lead to more efficient operations. You do have enhanced productivity. Of course, AI tools, they automate repetitive tasks, and they allow you as an employee to focus more on strategic and creative work. So basically, on number 2, that time, let's say you wanted to get some more information on how to upgrade from Windows Server 12 to Windows Server 14. That chunk of time that you would have used running around trying to find John, the senior IT administrator, so you can ask him to help you. You can quickly type it into the AI tool, and it'll give you a detailed step of performing that task, and thus increasing your productivity and saving you probably that hour that you would have used trying to find and interact with John to help you out. All right, so and it does help you in improved decision making because artificial intelligence, it literally has access to large data sets, and I'm talking about millions and millions of websites, compared to when you were just interacting with your colleague. At the max, you can only interact with maybe 3 or 4 colleagues reasonably, and a combination of your knowledge probably would be no more than a few dozen websites that you all within that group have interacted with over the years. Compared with the artificial intelligence, is basically talking to an equivalent of maybe 10,000 of those same colleagues, or even more. Now that AI has seen an upgrade from 3.5 to ChatGPT 4. So because of that, it gives you simply gives you improved decision making. So an overview of AI tools for the workplace, just a 10,000 foot view of this is, as everyone knows, the primary tool that you jump off from is ChatGPT. ChatGPT, which is either you're using 3.5 or maybe ChatGPT 4, which of course has been released within the past week. That should be your first jump off point. So case in point, when you have that question or when you have that knowledge gap, say for instance, how do I analyze a data set in Tableau, or how do I analyze a data set in Splunk? Instead of your first step being to ask John, that's down the hall, because normally your workflow would be something like you would ask John, your coworker that has been there longer, and next, if John doesn't know, then John might ask the manager. If the manager doesn't know, you go to Google and Google it. And if that doesn't work, then you submit a ticket to the vendor. But now with AI integrated and into the picture, your very first jump off point would be to ask the artificial intelligence, what are the steps to analyze a data set in XYZ application. So by doing that, most of the time, 80% of the time, it'll eliminate those other 4 steps that you would have spent probably an hour to an hour and a half trying to go through. And so that's how your workflow gets enhanced. So after that first jump off point, which is ChatGPT, then you can go to secondary niche tools. And the niche tools are listed on the right. We're talking about something like code assistant, or developer tools, or design assistant, or maybe if you're a database developer or database administrator, SQL tools, or email assistant, spreadsheets, of course. We, as technologists, most likely 90% of us have to interact with spreadsheets. And the artificial intelligences of the world, whether you're talking about ChatGPT or whether you're talking about the niche tools, they're very, very, very versed in spreadsheets to a very advanced level, including Google Sheets, as well as Excel. So these are the AI tools for the workplace. Okay, so again, diving back into ChatGPT, one way, and I'm sure pretty much from interacting with my colleagues that not everybody knows this on using ChatGPT, because this part of using the AI, ChatGPT, is starting to move more away from that basic use to the advanced use. So most people are just basically using it in place of their everyday Google queries. Whereas as technologists at the workplace, it basically replaces John Doe, your coworker that's been there about 15 or 20 years, who's basically the senior guy that has a lot of knowledge on whatever piece of software that you're using, or whatever task that you're using. So whether we're talking about data visualization, data analysis, project management, database administration, network engineering, and basically the entire comprehensive list of the technology spectrum. And so how can the artificial intelligence do this? Basically, okay, this is actually a typo. Yeah, so how can it do this is basically done through a prompt category known as act as prompts. And these act as prompts will give the AI, ChatGPT, the context and conditions to answer your questions. So regardless of whatever area that your question is focused on, or whether it's data analysis or whether it's cybersecurity, the act as prompts will basically give it the reference points to use it in answering your question. And this is an example of an act as prompt. In this case, basically, like I keep referring back to John Doe, your coworker that's been there for a long time. This prompt basically replaces that person, and in this case, you're asking about steps on investigating a malware infection. So this is the one of many, probably hundreds of prompts that you can field to the AI, ChatGPT, on to provide you with some information. So you're basically giving it instructions. You'll be troubleshooting cybersecurity issues and scenarios, and generating customized output based on your request, and just giving it the context and to think about the problem from different angles. And so in this case, you see the first request: provide me with the steps in investigating a malware infection on a Windows server. And so this is ChatGPT's response, and I've kind of chopped this up into two screens because there's actually multiple steps. It provided me, I think, probably about 5 different steps. And like I said, this is just one of one example out of dozens and dozens and dozens. Because in the technology spectrum, I mean, you have data analysis, data engineer, project management, or the full spectrum of list of technology professions that we basically collaborate and interact with here at our big forums or wherever communities that you all might go through on a daily basis. And so here's the rest of the answer. And so basically these are the steps to go through and analyze a malware infection. Okay, so jumping into adoption strategies, and these are so these are basically action items as well. For those of you listening, what you want to do is to create an AI tools master list. And towards the end of this presentation, I'll be sharing a library of where you can get this master list, tailored to whatever profession, tailored to whatever technology profession that you're part of. Whether you're in SQL, or whether you're in management, maybe, or whether you're in data science or programming. There's a lot of code in programming and developers here. So you basically want to create an AI tools master list. Of course, among that list would be ChatGPT, and that's what we've identified as the main brain, so to speak. Okay, so number 2, integrate AI tools into your workflow on the job. I've already talked about that. The AI should be your first initial jump off point into problem solving. And role prompting on ChatGPT, you want to actually learn how to role prompt, and role prompting is what I just went over in the last couple of slides. And the ultimate adoption goal for technologists as far as AI is concerned is that you want to be an advanced prompt engineer. So you basically are not gonna want to use it like the everyday user, like maybe the coffee shop barista, or maybe your brother who's who works as I guess flight attendant or whatever. So your role as a technologist is, of course, take it a couple of notches further and use it as a prompt engineer, where you can learn how to interact with the AI using various prompts, so you can get a very detailed and very accurate information. And so basically, those are the top 4 adoption strategies that you want to keep in mind. And give me just a second and take a look at this. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Forming good questions is the key to getting better answers. Yes, absolutely. And this goes back to the adoption. So I do agree with what Aura Tanner has put in the chat, that so the AI, of course, is a tool that is basically meant to assist you. And like every other tool, and tool is really the dead on as the description, just like every other tool, you have to check the output of that tool constantly to make sure that it's working to your expectation. The accuracy has improved with ChatGPT 4. which is 80% more accurate. But even still, with Chat GPT-4, you have to get all those, get the entire list of output that it provides to you, and just make sure that that's what you expect. And yeah, of course, absolutely, absolutely. Let's so let me go. And we'll just go ahead and go to the resources here. The library of AI tools, and this is a very, very extensive library. There's probably half a dozen of them. This one is one of the top three, I believe, largest library of AI tools. It's futurepedia.com, futurepedia.io. And futurepedia.io, it basically lists the tools in categories. So let's say you're a data engineer, let's say you're a database administrator, you're going to want to just type in the keyword SQL, and then it will give you all the AI tools that help out with a SQL database administrator or database developer, and also code development and things of that nature. Also, another key skill for technologists to use when it comes to AI is prompts. And like I said, you want to be a couple of notches up as a prompt engineer. There are, in this second resource, the promptbase.com is also a massive, massive library of AI prompts that, and the fundamental takeaway from prompt base is not really to get a ready made and ready to go prompt that you can use. It's just you won't, if you use it down the line, it kind of observe the pattern that the professional prompt designers use to develop those prompts. So even when you're not using it, you can use those patterns to craft your own prompts. Yeah, so that's that. This is basically it. One thing that I did forget to mention as far as resources is concerned, and if you have pen and paper, you probably want to write this down. This one thing. Of course, it wouldn't be a presentation if you don't forget something. So one key resource that you want to keep in mind is to use a newsfeed aggregator. You either use your favorite newsfeed aggregator, or you can use this is a newsfeeder. This my college professor introduced me to. This is a newsfeed app called Feedly, and Feedly is Feedly, feedly.com. So basically, you can go in there and type in the keyword AI tools, or type in the keyword ChatGPT. You basically want to subscribe to those feeds, so you can check them every morning as you go through the news feeds. Now, the reason that is important is because both ChatGPT 4 and ChatGPT 3.5, they are literally less than 6 months old. So we're not even, past the 6 month mark, where creative companies and tech innovators are going to start using this newfound capability to build even more powerful AI tools. So that's why the news, keeping in touch with the news is important. So that's why as these new tools come into the picture, you can pick them up immediately, just like that, from your news feed. And then schedule time to bring yourself up to speed on whatever technology is most beneficial for your career role. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover, and of course, another two areas are to use these what we call massive online databases, sites like Coursera and sites like Udemy.com. What those do is basically give you comprehensive lectures, comprehensive courses on specific areas of AI. Instead of you jumping all over the place, you can kind of settle into these portals to get a concentrated knowledge base. YouTube, of course, you can use YouTube for one of those casual one-off knowledge acquisitions, like your 5-minute video or 10-minute video, just to pick up a quick skill. So that's basically it. You can literally talk about AI and ChatGPT on and on and on. And I mean, literally, things are coming out every single hour. But just kind of focusing on integrating the strategy into your workflow at work, that should definitely catapult your productivity. Because like I said, you do want to, right off the bat, immediately cut off that first component of your workflow, which is asking the colleague that's been there for years. Once you do that, alone, and by replacing that with artificial intelligence, it should just propel you and keep you a few steps ahead, so to speak. And so, like I said, that concludes my presentation. And we can definitely just go to the Q&A. And let me go into the chat real quick to see. So from Kevin Robinson, how much of a boost would you say this tool gave you in your day-to-day role? So basically, I work in cybersecurity, and I would say presently, currently, I'll probably say I'm looking at probably a 30% boost right away, because in cyber we use tools like Splunk. Splunk. Some of you in data engineering probably also use it. We also use tools like endpoint detection and response. So it happens to be that in addition to okay, let me just click on answer live. Yeah, so in addition to being a subject matter expert on the various career roles, like I have mentioned, like data analyst, data engineer, project manager, network engineer, developer. The artificial intelligence, the AI, is also a subject matter expert in most of the applications that you use at work. So if you wanted to analyze data using a specific application, Splunk, you would simply ask, how do you analyze this? How do you analyze this specific input in Splunk, or how would you do this in Tableau, and et cetera, et cetera. And it will give you a breakdown of how to do it. And if you follow up and ask it, and ask the ChatGPT, the main AI, explain it to me in more simpler terms, or just explain it to me in more easier words, or something to that effect. It will also, just basically baby step you to the answer. so that's how, that's how it has helped me. Definitely, I have incorporated it into my workflow at work. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, you can, absolutely, absolutely, or you can set Google alerts for ChatGPT and AI tools. Um, Sales emails, the framework is sound, but content leaves a lot to be desired. Yeah, yeah, in sales and creative professions like, social media, yeah, I would say like version 4, it would AI. It's not gonna, like I said, it's not gonna replace 100%. Um, it's not gonna replace. It's not gonna meet the need 100% for creative tasks like writing emails and things like that. You want to, number one, what you want to do is ask it to give you multiple iterations from different points of view on how to construct the outbound email. Um, One thing that will really help, of course, we're probably not. That's probably veering a little bit off our scope, because the scope of this talk is, towards technology professionals. But just kind of hit on that real quick. For emails specifically, you want to instruct AI to take your target audience into context. Whether it's by the components of the demographics. By the age demographics, the location, the industry, and things like that. And then ask it to give you multiple iterations, and that's how you kind of and then you just basically pick one that like closely matches. That's kind of how you get around that. And let's see. Okay, I think I'm going backwards here. Okay, here. All right, I think okay. That's all the questions. Um, that's all the questions in the chat. Let me okay. Let's click on Q&A again. So, Aura Tanner asks, how do you think Black technologists specifically should be positioning themselves as it relates to using AI in the workplace? My answer to this, of course, let's go ahead and answer this live. Okay, so my answer to this is two, well, actually three action items. If you want to write this down, that's also good. So number one, you want to deliberately update your workflow. Update your workflow the traditional uh, from the traditional steps of first asking your colleague who has been there longer or who is the subject matter expert, and then asking a manager, and then asking vendor support. Update the workflow to to AI, and add AI as a first jump off point. And if the AI for some reason does not hit on the answer, and then you take it further and ask the subject matter expert or the vendor support. The second action item on how to position yourself is to make sure you subscribe to the news. I think a news feed aggregator is the most efficient way to do that. And the reason is simply because we're literally just at the starting point. ChatGPT 4 is, I mean, we're not even talking a year down the line. We're still like 6 months, just about 6 months. So more features, more powerful features of artificial intelligence is gonna surface. And so by doing those two things, it will bring me to number three, which is to condition yourself into using artificial intelligence. Just as you are conditioned to interact with more knowledgeable coworkers or more knowledgeable friends, you got to condition yourself to first interact, to know how to interact with the artificial intelligence. And by that I mean knowing things like, okay, if you ask an AI a very broad question, it's going to give you a very broad answer. But if you ask it a very targeted question with very granular conditions, it's going to give you a more accurate answer. So those three items really is what you keep that in mind as a technologist. And just by following those key tenements, there are your colleagues that are slow to technology adoption. There are colleagues that are part of the majority in technology adoption, but it just the AI thing is maybe too complicated, or maybe the ones that do even understand it but are still being slow. That's the point. You really do. I don't. If you want to get really, if you want to make it a point to get ahead, you cannot afford to be slow about it. You have to take these deliberate steps, and that will definitely have an impact as far as when you're using it at the workplace. Okay, so what else do we have? Okay, so pretty much on my day-to-day, on how and now I work in cybersecurity again. On my day-to-day, as far as how I leverage these AI tools, I basically you want to also list another thing that helps, just list the top three or top four applications that that you use, and and right off the bat you want to go ahead and ask ChatGPT, the main artificial intelligence, if it has knowledge of those tools. Okay, now ChatGPT is going to do something interesting. Now ChatGPT is going to point you to some additional tools. So I literally was mind blown. I think yesterday or the day before, when the AI, it recommended that I some 3 other tools for me to use in doing I think we had to automate a certain thing, which is to automate the steps of adding an IP to a block list, right? So basically, it pointed, it recommended me to a Python script and things like that. So naturally, normally, I would have never even thought of that, It will, just by asking it questions, it will either give you a satisfactory answer, or it can recommend other AI tools that you can also dive into. I just use it for I use it for just regular, to also increase my general communication and general correspondence. Because let's say, case in point, you get an email from a high executive at work, right? Um, so you want to give a response that's as optimal as possible, right? And this is just an email scenario, just regular email communication. So normally, if you're thinking by yourself, there's probably only 2 or 3 ways that you can think of to respond to that email to the executive, right? However, you can take that very email that you got from that executive and put the entire email. This is how you do it, okay? So take that entire email from that executive, and then paste it into ChatGPT, and then on the line below the email, you can type something like, "The above is an email from our VP from our VP of technology strategy, asking for the 3 different ways to do XYZ task. Give me the best response to write back to an executive that'll be more that'll be more respected by an executive, right? And so you kind of have to instruct the AI to give you an email response that is shaped towards responding back to an executive. And it'll give you about 4 or 5 different answers. Or maybe even, you can literally ask it to keep going. It can give you 1,000 different responses. And then from those, you can pick the best one. Whereas if you sat by yourself and start thinking, my goodness, how can I respond to this email? You can stay there for a whole hour and still wouldn't be able to get the optimal response. So that's how I use it every day. I use it in everyday communication. And number 2, I use it for technical analysis on cybersecurity. And number 3, I use it for specific steps in configuring cybersecurity related applications. So that's pretty much how I use it on a daily basis most of the time. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right, Trina. Bard by Google just dropped. No, I have not had the opportunity to try Bard, but you know what? I think it's going to be a race. Bard compared with ChatGPT, it's that same technology race all over again. If you remember back during the days when they had technologies like VHS or Betamax, or it kind of reminds you of those old times, when when they had streaming video, and then I think the two big brands came out with streaming video. I think you had Blockbuster, and then you had Netflix, and it's off to the races. It would be interesting to find out who out innovates the other. Whether it's Bard by Google, or whether it's ChatGPT. Okay, let's click on the Q&A again. Okay, so for anyone new to AI, where would you direct them to start if they wish to integrate AI into their application. Oh, okay, wait a minute. No, okay, so basically, let me kind of share some, this is a bit, I think this question is a bit out of scope, or I hope I'm interpreting this question correctly. And the question is, where would you direct them to start if they wish to integrate AI into their application software system? Okay, so I think maybe this question is maybe asking a question related to programming or how to integrate AI into an application or software system, or you talk about like maybe APIs or things like. I really do not know. I'm in cybersecurity. This might be a good question for a software developer. Inside of if you are a member of Blacks in Technology, or maybe you can ask in the forum to ask us some software developers what the best way to do this. To go about doing this. However, if this question is asking the best way as a user to integrate the use of AI when you're using the software, the best way to go about this is to first take a comprehensive course in AI. And basically, like I said, that the primary AI tool is ChatGPT. You want to go to platforms like Coursera or platforms like Udemy. And those platforms, they provide comprehensive tutorials on basically that gives you a comprehensive walkthrough on how to use the AI from a beginner level to an advanced level. So that's where you want to start. And then from that, from that point, then you can start picking up more knowledge on other focus areas. And I hope that answers this question. So yeah, let me actually go ahead and put my contact information. Well, let me see. Am I able to? Yeah. So I don't happen to see any other questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my contact information on the chat. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Sybil. Yeah, let me go ahead and put my contact information on the chat here, so you all know you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well, or through the Slack channel.